Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the commentary this morning and the discussion. Want to take a little bit different tact here this morning. Some of you have talked about, how we can impact what's going on in China, and a couple of you in your testimony, written testimony as well as verbal testimony this morning, talked about investment in China. You know, the Chinese talk, I think Mr. Cooper said to invest billions into their internet. So the question is where they get their money from. And we've had a number of discussions in this committee before, and a number of witnesses testify that we, the Americans, are giving them a lot of the capital they need to be able to do this. And to me, I think a couple of ways we can infect this is to sanction some of the folks, not be able to invest in certain companies. I think one of you made that recommendation. I think Mr. Chow in his testimony, as well as prohibit investment in Chinese companies, period. So I've got some bills to do that. So I think Mr. Kretcham, let's start with you. Would you like to comment on that?
From the OTF perspective, I mean, we come at this from a relatively technical perspective, and in that sense, like, there are lots of places where you'd want to be very careful about essentially either U.S. investment in the kind of firms that we know will blow back into creating better surveillance and censorship technologies that, as Dr. Cooper said, will inevitably be proliferated into a lot of other states who are seeking information control solutions like the PRC is putting together.
Mr. Cooper, Dr. Cooper, like to comment on that?
Yeah, what I would say just briefly is I think there's an important role for outbound investment legislation, and I know many of you have been leaders on this issue. I think as regards the censorship and surveillance question, the outbound investment limitation should, for that purpose, be focused on those companies that are engaged in the most pernicious behavior, either within China or outside. And so I do think there's a logic to restricting the ability of Americans or American companies to invest in companies that we know are infringing on the rights of people, whether they're in China or in Venezuela or beyond.
Mr. Zhao, you mentioned in one of your recommendations, I believe, to prohibit or minimize investment. It will look to me like, why are we trying to help the company, the country that's trying to take us over? It makes no sense to me. If this were Nazi Germany, would we be investing in that? I don't think so. You know, China is our mortal enemy here, and we're continuing to fund them. We need to be stopping all investment, in my mind, and sanction them. What do you think about that comment?
Well, my expertise is not a global economy. In that sense, I'm not sort of qualified to recommend the sort of blanket assumption. But my recommendation is about targetedly sanction or block the including investment of those companies, the Chinese companies, who playing a crucial role that on those large-scale digital authoritarian tech, including the censorship and the surveillance and manipulation. And I actually added 2 more sanction recommendations in my written testimony. Let me just state it. And I used the example of the security expert Chinese Fang Bingxin, who is widely known, publicly known in China to father of the Great Firewall. As I said, he is the chief scientist of those US sanctioned companies who are exporting technologies around the world. Not only those companies should be that prevented the US investors to invest, but those individuals, including the scientists, who played a crucial role to develop those technologies, and educational institutions should be sanctioned on blacklist by United States.
One quick question here. One of you made a comment, the country that takes command of the internet will rule the world. I think some of this goes back to artificial intelligence. I mean, that's where we all seem to go back to. I've got a hearing right after this one in another committee with regards to artificial intelligence. Scares the heck out of me. It's a wonderful tool on a positive side, but it can be manipulated in a very, very negative way, and scares the dickens out of me. And I think the Chinese, if they beat us in AI, we're in really big trouble. I've only got 10 seconds left, so I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.